Alright, now I'm actually entering the belt sander category. I think I may enter another one, but this is the belt sander is the main category that I wanted to go for. So it's only fair that we talk about a little bit about equipment here because there's a lot of different stuff. Now I'll get to the actual belt sander later, but one of the important things when I actually made the selection to go with the belt sander that was important to me is that I went with a 42-inch belt sander. I know a lot of people that get excellent results on the 30-inch belt sanders, but the main reason I went with a 42 is because I was able to get X-weight belts in a 42-inch belt. And what the X-weight is it's got a stiffer backing. This is in general a stiffer belt. And what that does for me is when you're running the knife across the belt and you get to the very end of the tip, the belt stays rigid for you. And in a lighter belt, what'll tend to want to do is there'll be pressure, and then all of a sudden when you get to the end of the knife, there'll stop being pressure, and a lighter weight belt will want to curl, and it can wrap right up on your tip and knock your sharp point off your tip. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done. If you've got a 30-inch belt sander around, that's great. Go ahead and play with it. I just think it takes a little bit more learning and a little bit more technique, and I know a lot of guys that get excellent results out of them, but I didn't want to have to go through the frustration of rolling off points on a lot of blades. So I stick with a 42-inch belt so that I can get the X weights, and I really like the stiffer back that it does for me. So what I use generally for sharpening is right here. I've got a 220 grit belt, which is the X weight backing, and 220 I really only use when I am going to regrind a new edge. It's probably not an appropriate belt to talk about for just plain touch-ups. I guess I wouldn't get too hung up on the grits right now because I'll cover them in later videos. But what I happen to have on here is a pretty worn 600 grit belt, and I will use this just for touching up, and we'll use that one relatively soon. And then one of the things, since I wanted to stay with the X weights, they don't go down much finer than that. So what I do to get my real high polish on after it, I've got two leather belts in two different grades of compound here. And I just keep these loaded up with compound leather belts. I just go on there the same as the other ones. Now, I really started sharpening this way before I got turned on to Bark River knives, and I know that they sell their compounds. So don't get too hung up on the colors of these. I happen to get this stuff from Pop's Knife Supply in Georgia, but if this stuff wasn't going to last me the rest of my life, I would just buy the Bark River compounds. But so we don't get too confused about the colors, the green is more of, I guess you would say, a grittier compound on the leather belt. And I have applied that to the rough side of the leather. And then my white is the finest that they sell. And on this particular belt, I put it on the smooth side of the leather. So you see that's on the smooth side rather than the rough side. But it seems like 99% of the stuff I do, I don't even really get out this white stuff because the green and the leather puts such a smooth, shiny finish on it. That's good for me. It's only when I want to get really, really picky that I start getting into, this white belt. So that's a little bit about the belts. The unit that I happen to have is a Kalamazoo grinder, 1x42. And like I said, when I decided to step up and not get a 30-inch belt grinder and go up to a 42, there are some other options available, like Delta makes a 42-inch sander and all that. Main reason I went with this one is that is Baldor motor. It's a good motor. It'll probably last longer than I will. This one's a very simple. I mean, that's all it is there's a stand, there's a motor, and there's two pulleys. In order to change belts, all you do is loosen up this knob, flip out this cover, and then it's a spring-loaded arm. Just push down, take it off, swap your belt out. And then when you go to do it, you spin it down a little bit, and you see it doesn't want to stay on right. You just twist this top pulley to get your tracking. Once you get your tracking right, you just lock it out with that knob and slap it down. There you go. Now, just a word on belts. I mean, see how that one's spinning nice and smooth. So that one's good. I have bought belts that they were brand new, and the tracking was set right, but there was something about the way the belts were cut. They just sit there and wobble. I just chucked those ones off to the side, and I won't even use them for a knife because I don't want to mess stuff up. I'll use it for some nasty grinding that I have later. But that's pretty much it for the equipment. So why don't we move on to some more fun stuff with the grind.